the enlightened one. Nam mô Sat&Sun12 sư chế đô ye ở la hư đi san miao san pu tô xie. Nam mô Tát Đắc Tha Tô Ya Đa Ya La Ha Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Thoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jie wen de shou qi Yuan Jie Ru Lai Zhe Shi Yi. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master, Sixth Patriarch, Great Master Hsuan-Hua, all good monks and nuns, and all good advisors, Amitabha. 诸佛菩萨六祖师父上人，各位出家人，各位善知識，彌陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Lục Tổ Hòa Thượng Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the 20th of January 2024. We're here Way Mountain Temple to continue discussing the sixth Patriarch Sutra. We are on the last chapter here, chapter 6. It's on repentance and reform, on slide of 338. So far, he's been talking about taking refuge, explaining about the three refuges Dharma in Buddhism. And he said to take refuge to the you take refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, and to take refuge to the Buddha. Actually, you are taking refuge to the Buddha of your own, the Buddha inside of you. And there are three of them: the Dharma body Buddha, the reward body Buddha, and the transformation body Buddhas. Okay, and he's in the midst of talking about the Dharma body Buddha. He says, I'm going to teach you to really understand what Buddhas are about, your Buddhas are about, the Buddhas inside of you are really about, so that you have no misconceptions about it. Okay. DTT question.
마스터 복에 대해서 질문이 있는데 집에 있는 사리를 모시기 위해서 스투파를 사는 거는 제가 복을 소진하는 게 아니겠죠?
Master, I have a question about blessing. I have a sharila in my home, so if I buy the stupa for the relics, is it wasting of my blessing?
Yeah. Sharira at home and to buy stupas to house the relics, is that a waste of blessings? Of course not. Everything has its proper places, okay? So if you have the objects of worships, any kind of objects of worships, you're supposed to put them in a place where the proper places, and preferably adorned places. Therefore, to buy stupas to house relics is a good idea. Okay? It's never wasted. All right? So what you're doing is, when you buy a stupa, you are making offerings to the relics yourself via the stupa. And that's, in other words, you're making offerings to the Buddha yourself. Because according to the Buddhist teachings, the relics are basically a part of the transformation body of the Buddha. All right? So you're making offerings to Shakyamuni Buddha yourself by buying a stupa.
마스터 그러면 어디까지 그러니까 집에서 그러니까 노스님께 받은 사리가 있고 저희 집에서 나타난 사리가 있는데 지금 현재 사리를 어떻게 모시고 있냐면 그러니까 저희 서재방에 있고 가장 높은 곳에 있고 사리랑 같은 위치에 선화상이나 마스터 관련된 책만 같은 라인이 되어 있는데 그냥 매일 3배씩 드리는 걸로 공양 말고 또 다른 어떤 물이라든지 추가의 공양이 필요한 걸까요? 어떤 공양 올려야 되는지 질문드립니다.
At my house, I have relics received from Master XC, and then some relics appeared in my house. So I put them in the highest place, and then I bow 3 times a day. And what else shall I offer to relics?
What offers the relics?
Yeah, how can I make offering to relics?
When you see the Buddha, what kind of offerings you want to make to the Buddhas? And you do the same kind of offerings to the relics. Okay? So typically, we recommend that you bow to the Buddhas, you bow to the relics. That's always works, always universal form of offerings. And you can light incense, you can get flowers, you can offer fruits and whatever, food, whatever, if you feel up to it. Okay? So all sorts of suffering, all sorts of offerings are okay.
현재 3배만 하고 있습니다.
Right now, I'm just do 3 bows.
Well, that's good. All right. Offerings are not limited to any form. If you feel like it, the more kinds of offerings, the more different types of blessings you have. Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. We have a question here from Twee. Good evening, Master. My paternal grandmother's health seems to be declining, along with her awareness of her surroundings and ability to communicate her needs. She is currently under hospice care at home with us. She already has a pre-49 days plaque. Is there anything else we should be doing for her spiritually at this time? Thank you, Master.
Okay. So she's on her last legs of her life, and therefore it's good that you prepare her for the journey, the next journey of hers. It's an excellent idea. She's very blessed to have someone like you to help her out. What you can do is you can this is probably important to you. You can probably offer her a little bit of relief of her pain and sufferings. Right now, in her state, physically she's frail, she's weak, and she's losing her abilities. And along with it, there's a fear. And there's probably some pain and suffering inside. When the body begins to break down, there's a lot of pain and suffering. And therefore, what we recommend that you typically do is, if possible, get her some medicine master Buddha blessings. Okay, I don't know. Depends on the current state of health. We typically recommend about 6 months to a year and so forth. Okay, so that she gets some relief physically and mentally. All right, so that's what I would recommend. All right, anyone else? Oh. All right, so slide 138. Thinking of and evaluating all evil phenomena give rise to evil actions, and thinking of and evaluating all good phenomena give rise to good actions. Thus, all dharmas are produced from within the self-nature.
思量一切恶事，即生恶行；思量一切善事，即生善行。如是诸法在自性中。
Okay. 139. It takes a sage of the level of Master Huineng to be able to see this. He says, he tells us about what's really going on in our mind. He says, when we think of and analyze and evaluate evil things outside, when you look at evil things, and we think about it, and we react to it, and then we assess it, and we evaluate it, and analyze it, okay? Usually, that gives rise to evil behaviors from our part. It's so fascinating that he sees it. I don't know that applies to you. What do you think? And on the other side of the spectrum, he says, if you think of good things and assess good things, evaluate good things, then you will naturally more inclined to do good deeds. Does this ring a bell at all? Does it sound familiar to you? Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. Yes, it sounds very familiar to me. A recent experience I had was traveling back east to where I'm from. There's a Renaissance fair that happens every Saturday. And I'm accustomed to usually going to temple on Saturdays. But this time I went with a friend to the Renaissance fair, and you know, it's just like drinking and singing and carrying on. I wouldn't say it's evil, but it was quite a difference of being in temple and cultivating compared to, you know, just pure entertainment on a Saturday afternoon. So that's my familiarity with this, yes.
Anyone else? Okay. Of course, evil here has different degrees of evil. You can have light evil or heavy evil and so forth. So we're talking about bad things. That's bad things that are happening in the world. And whether you believe it or not, why don't you consider this? It may not be visible to you, but if you believe this, it may affect how you raise your children, doesn't it? Think about it. If you care, you should be more careful, then you should pay attention to what kinds of friends your children have. Because, you know, it's so typical to me. I don't know about this, but I know that the good advice for parents is watch the kinds of friends that your children have. Because if they are bad ones, your children are not in good shape. To me, so this is that is an example of this particular teaching here. Do you agree or disagree? I found it so interesting when I heard a parent said, you know, that I'm watching over my son's friends. I make sure they have good friends and dissuade my son from befriending bad boys and so forth. And that rings a bell to me a long time ago. When I heard that mother talk like that, I said, wow, how interesting. That makes so much sense. And that's a manifestation of this teaching. If it happens to your son, it happens to you too, because we are easily influenced. If we spend a lot of time near evil, doing evil things and being near, befriending people who are no good, okay? And then our mind is predisposed to do bad stuff already. Isn't that right? So this is not psychology, but this is common sense. This is what really goes on in our minds. And you ignore this at your own risk and perils. I watch my friends, I watch people that I hang out with. That is so important. Okay, so I'm very proud to see that when people bring the children to the temple, maybe they're bored, maybe whatever, but they're being exposed to kindness, to compassion, to hopefully good thinking people, good people. We try, at least we're trying to be good. And that is so helpful. It creates a lasting impression of what they're supposed to be when they grow up, you know. Yes, 9, did you want to say something?
Thank you, Master. I just was thinking about it as you were talking. Sometimes when we meet with friends, we go out to dinner, sometimes they talk about movies that they've seen or something on television or something on cable or whatever. And it seems to me when I hear them talking about it and they're talking about some kind of deviant storyline that they find fascinating, I find that like I just kind of watch them. Like, why, you know, I don't know, I'm not really participating because I haven't watched that movie or watched that show or something, but they kind of get into it and it's almost like they accept the behavior as normal.
Yeah.
When it's really deviant.
Yeah.
And they know it's deviant, but they're kind of fascinated by it.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh yeah, well this person, but you know, they're really some strange person, but they're really, you know, it's just like total deviant behavior. And after a while, I just got to change the subject because I don't want to talk about it, you know?
And you sort of lose interest in spending time with such people. I was working out there in the world, and I was working for these very rich and powerful people. And when you get closer to them, when you see how they look at us, look at the employees, you realize it's like a master and slave kind of relationship. It's disgusting that they look at you as something that they use to be used and discarded. It is, to me, was such a revelation. I said, this is what I'm going to be when I get up there. And I said, my God, I'm not sure I can like myself. Or my wife, my future wife would like me this way. You know, it's so interesting to me. Yes, 9. It's not necessarily evil. We're talking about, you know, these negative thinkers, negative thinking, unwholesome thinking.
Yeah, I remember that my daughter's work experience, they hired her and they lied from the beginning, and she didn't know because it was her first job. Mm-hmm. And then she started to work at this office in San Francisco. First thing, one of the highest person from that position, from that district, told everyone, be selfish. That was the first thing he said to everyone who just got hired. Mm. So the time goes on. She starts to see that something is wrong with the people who works there because they're just like you said, they treat the new people like slaves and they trick them. They are very deviant. They are not sorry for anything and they're just cutthroat. And a lot of people start to do drugs and then that become norm in that department. And then whoever they got fired and rehire, same kind of people get hired, same type of people. And someone who was really nice from the beginning, but then he started to change his behavior and becoming very strange at the end. That's what she observed. And the work environment was very toxic, and that really affected everyone who works there. And I don't think everyone was like bad from the beginning. It's just the environment. Everybody was really starting to get really bad and evil.
Yeah.
And just they couldn't stop it.
So you see, now thank you for sharing that experience. You know, if this is so important, you go to work, and the work culture is so important. If someone tells you that it's okay to be selfish as long as you meet the quotas and so forth, oh my God, that's a terrible way to make a living. You know, the better things, you will not like yourself. Okay, and you're going to bring it home to your family. It's a terrible, terrible thing to sell yourself to that. Okay, and so I heard so many stories like that, and I myself went through similar experiences. And this brings to this is the rationale behind it, if you will. The wisdom is incredible. Okay, there's so many ways to express it. You near red, you become red. Okay, you near black, you become black, and so forth. That's what this is about. Okay, be very careful about what others around you are thinking. Huh? You know, interesting. Yes, JC.
예, 아미타불 마스터 최근에 유튜브나 뭐 넷플릭스 같은 그 매체들을 통해서 어떤 드라마나 어떤 걸 시리즈물 등에 저희들이 이제 손쉽게 노출될 수가 있습니다. 네, 여기까지 부탁드리겠습니다.
Recently, there are lots of YouTube and Netflix series, and then we got exposed very easily.
그래서 어떤 그 드라마 같은 그 시리즈물들 같은 경우는 특히 제가 느껴지는 건 이제 희로애락이 많이 느껴지기 때문에 그런 시리즈물을 예전에는 그냥 여과 없이 봤었는데 최근에 이제 보면서 이게 에너지가 좀 고갈된다 그래야 되나, 좀 이렇게 탁해진다고 느껴질 때가 있었었고, 그래서 이런 넷플릭스 같은 시리즈물을 계속 이제 자기도 모르게 이게 중독돼서 보는 것도 좀 안 좋지는 않을까 하는 이런 생각이 들었고, 그래서 최근에 근데 알면서도 이제 저도 모르게 슉 하고 계속 보게 되니까 이게 좀 아니다 싶어서 연불이나 이제 그 능엄 심주를 하다 보면 이렇게 좀 그 시리즈물에 이렇게 좀 반영된 그런 생각들이 좀 떨어져 나가는 걸 느꼈습니다. 그래서 이런 동영상 콘텐츠 드라마나 이런 것들을 시리즈물을 보는 것도 그런 좀 오염되게 자성이 좀 오염되게 할 수 있지는 않을지 좀 여쭈고 싶습니다.
So this series is very interesting. So I watched them without discrimination, but recently I realized that my energy got bad, and then I got affected, and so I recite Buddha's name or recite the Shranga mantra, then I let go of the thought of this series. So my question is that this YouTube and this contents, can they pollute, defile our Buddha nature?
Yeah, it says right here. When you watch it, meaning your mind is thinking about it, evaluating all these evil phenomena, they will affect your behavior. That's the bottom line. It's so fascinating to me that he summarizes a very simple statement. Says, you think about, you allow yourself to think about and evaluate bad things, unwholesome things, you will do unwholesome things. It's so interesting. So what can you do? What are we supposed to do? We're surrounded by unwholesome things and wholesome things. What are we supposed to do? If you want to help your children, you better know how to deal with it first yourself. Yeah? That's important, isn't it? We know, if you believe this, if you go to work and you're surrounded by co-workers who are out there trying to make a killing and they don't care about anyone else but themselves, boy, are you in trouble. And you bring it home with you. So what are you supposed to do? You go to hospitals. It's funny, but many doctors, because of who they are, not just doctors, whether it's Western doctors, Eastern medicine doctors, herbal doctors, once they become successful, they have this God mentality, I give life. I save people's lives. And therefore, they begin to act like God. It's funny. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah? Yes, 9.
I know it sometimes can be really difficult, but I think we should be able to try to endure and not be affected by this deviant or evil actions and thinkings. But meanwhile, I think you have to find another opportunity and make the environment, try to find a better environment so you could have a longer career.
Yeah, be careful. This is so important. For you to start out in your new career, for young people who starting a career or people who are switching jobs, make sure you go into the right places, because it has long-term consequences to you and to your family. Yes, DTT.
제 경험치인데 지금 현재의 위치성이 안 좋아서 다른 것으로 바꾸려고 할 때 복이 부족하면 비슷한 상황이, 그러니까 새로운 환경에서도 비슷한 상황이 펼쳐진 경험이 있었어요. 상욱쌤 한번 할게요.
I want to share my experience. I trying to switch my job, but because of lack of blessing, the same situation happened.
그래서 저 같은 경우는 약사위패를 달고 대비참을 하고 복을 지으려고 노력을 하다 보니까 악한 마음이 일어나도 그게 실행에까지 옮겨지지 않았고 같은 패턴이 연결되지 않았었습니다. 그것이 저의 경험이었습니다.
So I request the medicine master plaque and I recite great compassion mantra and trying to generate blessing. Then my evil mind didn't arise, and then even if I have an evil mind, I didn't do the evil thing. So that's my experience.
Very good. That's the next question. What if you have no choice? Let's say your wife is evil. Of course, it's not possible. But assuming your wife is evil, what are we supposed to do? Huh? Daniel, do you have any suggestions, sir, in your professional opinion? Poor guys, just want to sit in the corner, relax a little, and get pulled into this evil and good thing. Yeah. Yes, sir. Have you thought? You want more time to think about it?
Repeat the question.
Repeat the question. He wasn't even listening. We're talking about if you're near evil, you think about evil, your behavior will be evil. So my question is, what if your wife is evil? What are you supposed to do? Your boss is evil. What are you supposed to do?
I think it depends on every situation. The boss is evil. Just make sure you don't do evil things. Pray for that person. If it's your wife is evil, then you also have to pray for that person, but you don't have to really be involved in that.
Well, she's your wife. What are we supposed to do?
Tolerate it.
Okay, that's very Catholic, yeah. You tolerate it, okay? It's a tough one because you have to be aware of the limits, your limitations. Okay, we practice chant because part of the chant practice is to not act upon our impulses. Yeah? You sit there and you say, oh, it hurt too much, let's move. That's unbuckle. And you're taught and you train to not unbuckle as long as you can. Okay? And so part of the chant training is for you learning not to act upon your impulses, whether it's evil or even good. Okay? And so this is your first line of defense. You cannot control who's evil, or the nice person who could have an evil stretch, and they go crazy, okay? And you have to deal with it. Yeah? And so that's why you have to learn not to act upon your impulses, not think about things. Okay? Because what Chan teaches you is that when something happens, you don't let it stick. They throw this like the pasta al dente. They throw pasta at you and they just fall off. That's Chan. Does it make sense to you? Okay? You have to learn. This is your best self-defense. They throw things at you and it falls off. Don't blame them for being evil. Don't blame them for your afflictions. You have to endure it, okay? And not act upon your afflictions. That's chant. All right? And this assumes that you recognize evil and good very clearly. It is so clear that, for example, when, like Sarah's example of the boss coming and say, you can be an SOB, and this is how you fit in here. You can be totally selfish. You know, that's a wrong philosophy of life, of work. You know, that's not very healthy environment. Get the heck out. Okay, if your boss is like that, boy, are you in trouble. If a wife like that, I would not send you to Daniel for consultation. Okay? Interesting. These insights are so amazing that the little things in life, what people think of, it affects their welfare. You think of wholesome things happen to you. You think of evil things will happen to you. It's about you. It's not about anyone else. Don't blame it on your boss. Don't blame it on your wife. It's about you. Am I making sense to you? I'm not blaming your boss. Okay? It's you who choose to be there and act upon your thoughts. All right? That's a life of misery, let me tell you. That's how you choose to live your life. To me, it's not worth it. Okay, it's easy for me to say it because I'm out of the system, but it's, I really appreciate the insight here from the sixth patriarch. Okay, You can't compromise because what you're thinking, you have to pay attention to whether your thinking is wholesome or unwholesome. It's so important. That applies to you, it applies to your children. Okay? And all dharma is produced within a self-nature. So because of this, okay, this is part of the Dharma body Buddha, and therefore it has both good and bad, okay? In this universe, you can never say that I only want wholesome things. There's always the unwholesome things in this world. Choose carefully, yeah? 140. This is like the sky, which is always clear, and the sun and the moon, which are always bright, so that if they're obscured by floating clouds, it is bright above the clouds and dark below them.
如天常清，日月常明，为浮云盖覆，上明下暗。
Okay, 141, commentary slide, okay? It's like the sky, which is always clear, and the sun, a moon, which are always bright, okay? So now he uses an analogy to give you an idea of what's really happening in our lives, in the world, in the universe, okay? I just think about it. How many people, how many teachers, professors you've been to, and they talk about the universe and see how, where we fit in, how what we do is connected to the rest of the universe? Only in Buddhism, only in Avatamsaka Sutra, and only in Chan, you see these kind of teachings. Isn't it interesting? The scope of the vision of things they talk about is humongous. Only people who have no wisdom will want you to only know this small thing about you and your life and your small petty gains. That's all you're encouraged to think about. And it's okay to cheat. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to steal. Because if you get away with it, why not? Because if you don't, someone else would. Okay? It's nonsense. And so he's giving the analogy of the sun and the moon, and so lives are these floating clouds that will come and go. Yeah, all right, and it will be clearer here. 142. If the wind suddenly blows and scatters the clouds, there is brightness above and below, and the myriad forms appear. The worldly person's nature constantly drifts like those clouds in the sky.
忽遇风吹云散，上下俱明，万象皆现。世人性常浮游，如比天云。
Okay, so he says that the nature of our life is like transient, like these floating clouds. Okay, and sometimes it's cloudy and you can't see anything, sometimes dark and sometimes bright and so forth. And therefore, that's the nature of our lives. Okay? 144, good knowing advisors, knowledge is like the sun and wisdom is like the moon. Knowledge and wisdom are constantly bright, but if you are attached to external states, the floating clouds of false thought cover the self-nature so that it cannot shine.
善知识，智如日，慧如月，智慧常明，于外着境，被妄念浮云，盖覆自性，不得明朗。
Okay, and so he said, you see, so this is very, very much like your our lives, okay? Your knowledge, okay, is like the sun. Your wisdom is like the moon, okay? And therefore, they're always shining brightly for us to be able to live a meaningful life, okay? But if you are attached to external state, to external things, external states. Okay, it creates their attachment creates floating clouds. Okay, that cover the self nature so that it cannot see clearly. All right, and what he's referring to is actually very specific. The knowledge and wisdom. Okay, let me tell you, in Buddhism, there's a concept here of knowledge and wisdom. Okay, let me tell you about the wisdom first. That's the easy one for you to understand. The wisdom here, you heard of it before. You have 3 kinds of wisdom, okay, that you are developing. That you're developing right now. When you practice Buddhism, you're developing these 3 types of wisdoms. Okay, first type of wisdom, okay, is the hearing wisdom. Hearing wisdom meaning you hear the proper principles, or in Buddhism or in Catholicism, the good words, if you will. Okay, but the difference is that the good words here comes from the words of wisdoms from the Buddhas. All right? Yes, sir, 5.
So that part about the constantly drifts, does that refer to scattered kind of thoughts?
Yes, comes and goes. Okay? Floating clouds, yes. And so this hearing wisdom here is what you acquire from listening to sutras, listening to the Dharma, and reading and reading the scriptures. All right, and that is what the majority of the Buddhists learn. Okay, they learn this because they read sutras and recite sutras, and they copy sutras and so forth. Okay, this is very important. But the first step to wisdom is to hear the good teachings, so that you have the proper perspectives. Okay, this is a requisite for the other 2 wisdom. This is the difference. Outside of Buddhism, they don't have this hearing wisdom here. So that when they develop wisdoms, when they develop samadhis, okay, they're, because of the lack of hearing wisdom, their samadhis are called improper reception. You have no idea in how precise and how thorough we are in our training, the kind of training we provide for you. It is very, very effective. Part of Chan is also for you to have the hearing wisdom. This is why the Dharma talks. If you practice meditation without listening to the proper teaching, the proper principles, you will end up having the improper samadhi. I can't stress this enough. This is why in Chan, we always do give you Dharma talks and give you a chance to ask and question us and have your doubts resolved. You don't have to believe it, but the fact you're hearing it, okay, is extremely helpful to you. It plants vajra seeds in your Buddha nature, which will sprout in the future. That applies to the children who listen to it, that they get the same benefits as we do. By the way, your cats, same thing. Okay? So this is why the Dharma talks, the Dharma lecture, sutra lectures are incredibly important If you're a teacher, you need to pay attention to this because you're providing the great seats for the people. Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. We have a question and we have some comments. The question is from Alta D. Master, what about the idea of looking at your own faults? Maybe that they would be unwholesome thoughts? Isn't that important to see our ikya? Amitabha.
We'll come to that a little bit later in the subsequent slides. Okay? Hold that thought. Next.
The next is a comment from Chris. I believe that if you hold precepts, continue your spiritual practices, and have faith in Buddha and Bodhisattvas, they will look out for you. I have worked at companies with evil bosses who fudged data, and I'd end up getting fired or forced to resign, even though I didn't do anything wrong, only to see that these companies failed to succeed or went belly up or the CEO was put in prison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It will catch up with you or your unwholesome deeds. All right? Okay, so this hearing wisdom is very, very important. Okay, so not just only from our perspective as Sanghams, but also from your perspective. Make sure you will get the proper hearing wisdom, meaning hear the words or teachings from sages. Do not believe people who have no wisdom. Because if you give you unwholesome beliefs, you're going to be in trouble. I give you examples of Georgetown. People follow whatever is Jim, whatever his name, and they went to they moved to South America and they ended up killing themselves or something. Georgetown, Jonestown. Thank you, James Jones. Thank you. Okay, so you see, there's plenty of stories like that because your teachers are unwholesome and they keep on bombarding you with this nonsense, Maharashi, whatever, okay? Those are the people, they're unwholesome teachers and you keep on hearing them day after day after day after day, and you will create unwholesome karmas yourself and you get in trouble. Okay, so be careful, okay? I'm very selective. I will listen to only sages. I don't care if they're popular, okay? A lot of people really adore them and so forth. Stick to the patriarchs in Buddhism. You want to hearing wisdom. Okay, you want hearing wisdom, stick to patriarchs. You can't go wrong. Any patriarch. At least those who are willing to teach. Okay? And because they have to announce themselves as patriarchs so that in Mahayana, that's where we all know that we can go and learn and acquire hearing wisdom. Okay? This is available only in Mahayana. That's so interesting about it. And only the Chinese will have this patriarch system. Okay? And that's been moved to the US now. We have a Chinese patriarch and a second patriarch, which, God knows, Lord knows what he's doing. But the point here is that we have one great patriarch, Master Hsuan, okay? I would listen to him in the absence of anyone else. Is it clear? This hearing wisdom here is very, very important. Okay, that's a starting point. Okay, and then you have a Su Hui, or the contemplation wisdom. This comes from your samadhi. When you enter samadhi, okay, these seeds here from your hearing, all of a sudden matured. And you have this understanding. Okay? Okay? And so this contemplation wisdom here requires you to do some form of meditation. That's why Chan plays a central role in the training of our people, bar none. All the patriarchs in Buddhism are good or excel in Chan. Okay? Unfortunately, the current one is not that good. That's why he's not teaching. Unfortunately. Okay? Because you need to be good in Chan in order to teach properly. And because the teaching is so important, you lay the foundation. You push people, guide people, so that they open the contemplation wisdom, so that they actually can connect with this hearing wisdom they have. So you verify the wisdom you heard. The hearing wisdom you heard before, you verify it yourself and say, wow, that's it. That's why he taught me to do this. That's why the Buddha said so and so. So that's so typical Buddhism. We want you to hear from the sages. If I'm not a sage, I will ask you to go to Master Shenhua and so forth and learn from him because he's a great sage. Okay, you cannot go wrong. But when I teach you meditation, you follow my instruction, you're supposed to see that whatever he teaches is correct. There's nothing wrong about it. Okay? So if we teach you wrong things, our Chan techniques will quickly help you see that we are wrong. So we can't fool you long term at all. Plus, we're also doing something that's not helping the cause, our cause, because not only we're talking about what we understand, but also we also go a step further by teaching you about sutras, and big sutras such as the Avatamsaka Sutra, which unveils everything, leaves no stone unturned. Okay? So that's why we're not doing ourselves any favors. Okay? Because we are exposing ourselves to being judged by you when you acquire Su Hui, contemplation wisdom. We can't hide. That's why you can't do it. You should not do it. You should hide. Okay? Don't teach. In Buddhism, we can't. We can't fake it. Yes, JMT.
가짜로 척할 수가 없습니다.
네, 마스터 말씀하신 선이 무엇인지 말씀해 주실 수 있나요? 저한테는 선이 너무 포괄적으로 느껴져서 선에 대해서 선이 무엇인지 한 번 더 알려주시면 감사하겠습니다.
Master, could you explain what Chan is? Because Chan is too broad. So could you explain one more time?
What Chan is?
Yes.
Everything you do at the temple is Chan. Everything. That's how wide our Chan is. That's why you're confused. For some people, it's easier for example, in your country, in Korea, in K-land, to say Chan is Hwato. But Hwato is only a tiny fraction of Chan in terms of techniques, how to practice Chan. Our Chan is wide open because we understand the principles of Chan and how to train Chan. And we have a track record of using all sorts of things to help you acquire hearing wisdom, contemplation wisdom, and cultivation wisdom. So what you're doing is chant. All of it, 100%. Nothing is not chant at our temple. That's how wide our cells is. For example, to be specific, I go to Korea and do a Wan-yin Chi, it's also chant. All right? When we go and teach you ceremonies and you circumambulate at the end of the evening ceremony to recite Namo Amitofo, okay? It's also chant. That's the nature of our chant training. All right? Go first.
That one's fine. Hello, Master. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Master, I'm wondering, the Si here, Si Hui, is that the same as contemplation, like Guan?
Yeah, contemplation.
Si is basically Guan. I know that some school of Buddhism, they insist that they interpret the Si as thinking and analyzing, and they are very focused on doing that, just for your reference. So I'm a little bit curious here why Si is Guan, because the Chinese is slightly different.
I don't understand the question.
The question here, I think you already answered. You basically said that Si here is the same as contemplation, Guan. And I just have a comment that I know some schools of Buddhism, they really take this word, Wen Si Xiu, and then do a lot of analyzing and thinking.
No.
That's just a comment.
That's not analyzing thinking. Su is not analyzing thinking. Okay? Su is contemplation. Contemplative wisdom. The wisdom that arises through your contemplation. So that's the first kind of wisdom you acquire through our Chan training. Never mind about the others. I don't care what the others do. I don't even care what Master Shewa disciples do. I'm teaching you differently. Okay? I want you to understand that the Su here, Su Hui here, number 2 here, the contemplative wisdom here is what you naturally develop when you practice Chan. Okay? And this is very important. This is what you know, the characteristics of the Su Hui here, the contemplative wisdom here, is that your ability, the wisdom that enables you to drop things. Worldly people, they hoard. They want more money, more cars, more attention. Okay? That's because they lack wisdom. They cannot drop it. Whereas in Buddhism, one indicator of wisdom is that you're able to drop. Okay? Because you're being able to drop, you have no afflictions. You're afflicted because you can't drop. So in wisdom is that Su wisdom or contemplative wisdom is you look at it and say, nah, it's not that important to me. Goodbye. So enables you to divorce your wife a lot easier. I'm joking. Very good. Yeah, careful here. Okay, you got that? Okay, so don't worry about whatever the other guys, the other temples, the other teachers are teaching you. It's low level. I'm teaching you a much higher level where I want you to understand the Su Hui here. Contemplative wisdom is that the kind of wisdom that enables you to get rid of your afflictions. Afflictions is stupidity. When you're afflicted, you're being stupid. When you're angry at someone, you're being stupid and you're not dependable. You don't count. You understand? When you see people who are afflicted, you know they are confused, so that you know such people, you cannot count on them. It's incredible insight, folks. When you see people who are afflicted, move away, because they are not dependable. That applies to you. When you're afflicted, can you let go? Boom. Then your head is clear and you are dependable. That's why it's called wisdom. Wisdom is to be able to get rid of your afflictions. If you cannot get rid of your afflictions, you are a victim of life. You can make as much money you want. You can fly in the sky. But if you are afflicted, you're going to do stupid things. Yeah? You're a victim of your stupidity. That's why in Buddhism, we're not impressed with people who can fly, can see, and all those things. Yeah, if you're still afflicted because of what you see, because you can fly, because you're smarter than others, you're still stupid. You still have no wisdom. You still are undependable. I wouldn't marry you. Is that clear? It's just like you accept it. You say, okay, so that's how it is. Everyone is like that. I'm like that. In Buddhism, we say, no, you don't have to be a victim. You can be better. I can be better. You can be better. It's just that you don't know. You thought that it's just, you're supposed to be like that. That's why you have no wisdom. Just the fact you have hearing wisdom, okay, literature wisdom, okay, is only the first step. You have potential. But unless you have contemplative wisdom, which you're able to let go, because these principles enable you to let go, explain to you why it's okay to let go, okay? It makes sense to let go. Then you have no real wisdom yet. You only talk here at literary wisdom. You only talk. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to have no ego, but I still want to drink when I'm stressed out. Who wants a drink? My ego wants a drink. Yeah? Is that clear? So here is theory. You talk. Okay? That's why Master Hsu Ha called Khẩu Thổ Chán. You practice Chán in your mouth. You know? Your wisdom is only intellect. Your intellect, your knowledge. Okay? You talk up a good game. Okay? That's considered wisdom because you know the principles. This is important, but it's not complete yet. You need to go to the next step, which is contemplative wisdom, where you actually identify with, are able to act upon what you heard, to rid yourself of your afflictions and take control of your life instead of being a victim like the rest of the world. Questions, comments? Okay? So that's why once you have the contemplative wisdom, you need to go a step further. You have cultivation wisdom where you actually, contemplative wisdom is about yourself. You can free yourself from your afflictions. Cultivation wisdom is you help others. You free others from their afflictions. That's Buddhism. Because if you loved your child, wouldn't you want to help her, free her from her misery and her sufferings? That's Buddhism. How can we ignore them? How can we ignore the fact that our parents are suffering? Our grandparents are in dire shapes. How can we ignore them? Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. Brady has a comment that he's making. He says in regards to what you're just now talking about, eventually letting go becomes easier.
Absolutely. Okay? That's how your contemplative wisdom grows bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a work in progress. You don't ever stop. Okay? You get better and better. Okay? That's the process. Okay? You see, you understand the importance now? Now you're teaching with Chan here. Everything we do here in the temple is to train you to acquire contemplative wisdom. And once you have it, we push you, nudge you, and say, now you need to do this because this is how you will become a better person. You'll be happier and happier and happier. Don't stop. All right? Yes, in the back.
Master, so does that mean that as a trainee, we supposed to expose to all kind of affliction in order to recognize it and learn how to drop it?
Absolutely. That's why it's called the Great Assembly Dharma. We get together with other people so that they afflict us to death. And we don't have to marry them. You only have to bear with them for an hour or two on the weekends and just go back to our own lives. Oh, that's too much. You see, you guys have it easy. Our people, it's 24 hours, 24/7 for them. There's no break for them at all. Okay? Shintung will be very difficult to live with, and you have to deal with it. We all get better because of it. All right? So it's funny, somebody laughed and I said, what about the cultivation wisdom here? I brought in people who are totally helpless and I forced them to help them. So they're being forced to help practice the xiu hui, the cultivation wisdom, because you have to help others. Okay? You see, as a lady in JMT, everything we do here is actually paving the way for you to go to acquire all three wisdoms. That's Chan. Is that clear? There is a master plan, trust me. Okay? It looks like it's a casual thing. Actually, there is a whole program of development of manpower, of talents. Yes, 9.
Master, for cultivation wisdom, can lower level of samadhi person could still help up to a certain extent, or has to be weight?
No, you have to. There is a sequence. You have 1, 2, 3. That's why this is where the other Buddhists fall short. Most Buddhists, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to offend some people, like the Vietnamese. Okay? They are only interested in Wen Hui. They only want to learn the books, read the books. And they said, now I know, I become enlightened. Anyway, enlightened is no attachment. Okay? But when you look at them and say, but you are so stupid, they say, why are you so nasty to me? I don't want to come here. See? They can't let go of the ego. Okay? They're so afflicted. As soon as you touch them, they get afflicted. So that's why the Wen Hui here is what the typical Buddhist disciples are in our Dharma ending age. We're lucky in that we have Buddhist disciples who come to the temple and they want to hear the good words on the principles, the Buddhist teaching, the Patriarch's teaching. That's a good thing. But it's because of the monks and nuns' fault. It's not the disciples' fault. The monks and nuns' fault is that too many of them have temples, okay, accept disciples when they don't have the proper wisdom, so that they cannot guide them. Okay, boys and girls, and from my perspective, you need to have xiu hui before you should consider accepting disciples. Because at xiu hui here, you only are able to help yourself, but you cannot help others. So you can't really help others at all. So your training of your disciples is haphazard. Okay? Don't accept disciples, let me remind you, until you have xiu hui. That's the standards of Mahayana in this country that I want to bring to. Okay? I'm not happy with Master Hsuan Hua's standard, by the way. Okay? Maybe that's why in their third generation, because they don't have xiu hui, that's why they claim that their disciples actually are disciples of Master Hsuan Hua. They would not stand out and say, you are third generation, therefore you are my disciples, therefore I'm responsible for you. Okay? That I'm not happy about. Okay? Your generation, you third generation, when it's your turn to accept disciples, you should have xiu hui. Otherwise, do not accept disciples. Can't help them. Because when you accept disciples, you are making a promise. I will help you develop wisdom. I will help you develop hearing wisdom. I will help develop contemplative wisdom. And hopefully, I will help you develop cultivation wisdom. Why? Because I know that you want to help your parents. You want to help your children. Don't you? All right? Our standards are different from Master Hsuan Hua's standards. I'm not happy about that, by the way. I'm totally unimpressed. I don't care. Okay? Whatever they do, I can't care less. But we can be different. Our standards are much higher. Okay? Now you understand the three wisdom that depending on who you are, okay? If you're a lay person, I would go for number 2. Don't stop at number 1. Go for number 2. And if you have ambition, you want to be much better, you want to be a much better person, much more important person in life, in society, vote number 3. All right? Each level, you're happier and happier and happier. That's why it matters to you. Yes, go for us.
Yeah, sorry about that, Master. I wonder what is the level of the Xiuhui, the third level? The Samadhi level.
Samadhi level.
You have various different levels. Yes. Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. We have a question here, but before I'd like to thank the YouTube audience that we have, and we hope that you are interested in learning from this lecture. And if you're interested in doing so, please like and subscribe. Thank you. We have a question here from Zihong Sao. At what level, Master, do people have cultivation wisdom? Thank you.
Okay, let me go to that. That goes back to knowledge. Okay, you first have this wisdom here, which must be useful to the world. Wisdom is supposed to be useful to the world. Wisdom must be for the purpose of serving society. Wisdom is not meant for you alone. That's not called wisdom. Because if you acquire wisdom and then you stay in your corner and you die, okay, you basically are a non-entity. You're useless. Okay? So, first of all, this Wenhui here basically is intellectual knowledge. Okay? And it's still called wisdom because this knowledge here is a specialized knowledge from the Buddha, from the sages, as opposed to knowledge from confused people. Okay? So that's why it's still called wisdom. Is it clear? And when you practice Chan, yes, DTT.
마스터께서 예전에 아라함부터 다른 사람을 가르치기 시작해야 된다라고 말씀하셨던 법문이 있는데 이게 춘의 질문과 관련이 있는지 모르겠는데 수해를 닦는 단계가 아라한이 아닌가를 질문드립니다.
Before Master said that from the Arahat we can help people. So I guess the level of the cultivation wisdom is Arahat.
My targets change constantly. When you get better, I raise the target a little bit more, depending who you are. Okay? So I lie, in other words. Okay. Does it help? There's no other way to describe it. I lied to you. I changed my mind. How's that? Okay? You better than that. You cannot be happy with that. Okay? Oh. So remember, the Wenhui here is very important. You need to listen to the sages, the Buddhas and the sages. There's no substitute for it. Okay? That's why Master Shinhua, the Patriarch's teachings, should be part of your acquisition of the hearing wisdom, literature wisdom. Sutras, not just sutras, but the sutras will have a proper translator. It's wrong to read sutras that has a poor translation. Okay? So that's why Master Hsien Hua set a standard. It says, for you to translate from Chinese to English, I will certify it. So that's why you know the English part, the English translation is proper. Literature wisdom. Okay? But if you have a translation from a guy who has a PhD from a certain university, dump it. Don't waste your time, folks. Your life is too short to be wasting your time. Okay? Stop messing with your life. Okay? When you have this hearing wisdom, after you acquire proper wisdom, okay, which is part our Chan indoctrination for you. Okay? We teach you how to cross your legs, how to recite the Buddha's name, how to recite mantras. All those are part of our Chan training so that you acquire the knowledge of 一切智. Okay? I don't know what the English translation here is. It doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. Oh, I want you to understand the concepts. Okay? Names will come later. Okay? All knowledge, if you will. 一切 is all. This is knowledge. All knowledge. Okay? And that, okay, by definition, is that you're able to recognize the marks. All the marks. Which means that you recognize, you're able to see that you experience something called emptiness. Everything is empty. That's wisdom. That's what enables you to drop. Money is empty. As a proof, who has a $100 bill? I do? That doesn't belong to me. Okay? See, now he's ready. He's prepared. Thank you, sir. Okay? Look at that. Okay? That's an example of all knowledge. You can let go of a $100 bill just like that. Okay? All wisdom refers you to drop everything. Can you drop everything? If you can drop everything, that's a proof that you have all wisdom. Anyone else would like to try? No? No takers? Korea, I do take Zelle and PayPal. Yeah? Pastor Z, go ahead, pass around a bucket. Yeah? That's the bottom line. The wisdom is you recognize the emptiness of everything. Okay? And that is the wisdom that you acquire from, the knowledge you acquire from 智慧, contemplative wisdom. This is what it means. You're afflicted. Someone insults you and say, "You are so ugly." And of course, you were offended, right? You recognize your affliction. You recognize your affliction comes from being insulted. Yeah? And instead of reacting to it, you enter this, you wield this wisdom called contemplative wisdom, meaning that you cross your legs or you enter this contemplative state or samadhi. And because we enter this, you're able to have this all knowledge. Then you recognize the words, the insulting words are empty. Therefore, poof, you drop them. That's the process. Am I making sense to you? It's a skill, folks. 9.
Just to clarify, Master, so sometimes when I'm attached to certain thought and I was able to drop it, so right before dropping, I was using that contemplation wisdom to drop it.
Yes.
Without knowing it.
Without knowing it. So you don't necessarily, for your personally, you don't necessarily have to cross your legs because you've been there, you even have this contemplative wisdom already. That's why now you can wield it when you're walking while you're talking. And if it's still, okay? So contemplative wisdom could be happen, you train to do that with your legs crossed, but eventually you don't have to cross your legs. You still wield that's the same wisdom. All right? That's real. To be able to drop things is 一切智, the knowledge that everything is empty. All right? That's a connection between Su Hui and 一切智, between contemplative wisdom and all knowledge, that everything is empty. Including you. Is that clear? So, again, it's wisdom because when you're activated, you're able to drop. You fail to activate it, you cannot drop. So you have a choice. When you're with your wife, you don't want to drop it, do you? You better suffer out of love. Okay? Through thick and thin, through richer and poorer, and all health, and through health and through sickness and whatever, all those things, all those vows you made, the things you promised her, you better hang on to them. You better follow through. Therefore, you promise to suffer and go through the thick and thin with her. Therefore, that's your choice. But when you can't take it anymore, okay, you say, excuse me, honey, I need to go to the restroom. And you go to the restroom, and you cross your legs, and you drop it right away. Okay? And you flush the toilet, you come back out and say, hello, honey, here I am again. I still love you like crazy. Even more than before. Isn't that cool? That's Buddhism for you. Buddhism is not for you to run away and hide in a corner. That's useless Buddhism. This Buddhism here is living Buddhism. Real Buddhism, real life Buddhism. That's why I have people here at the temple who would butt heads with you until it hurts. And it hurts like hell because it's stronger than you. So that you have a chance to practice contemplative wisdom. If they butt heads with you, guaranteed it's going to hurt. Guaranteed. Okay? That's why what do? If you run away, then you never be able to overcome it. You keep on coming, eventually you develop contemplative wisdom faster, and you're able to rise above it. It no longer bothers you. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. I've been taking notes, just trying to keep up. So I understand it. There's the 3 types of wisdom are hearing, contemplative, and cultivating. Is that correct?
Yes.
And apologies if you've said this already, but I'm not clear. What's the difference between contemplative wisdom and cultivating wisdom?
It's the next level up. When you're there, then I explain. It's clearer. Okay? This is an overview for you because there's so many of you who have these three wisdoms already, by the way. Okay? Many of you have been through this already, 1, 2, or 3 already. Okay? Now I'm giving you the lay of the land to see why, how, to help you realize you're there already, so I give you more details. And when those you are not there, eventually you get there. Okay? It gives you comfort to know that people have been there. People in this great assembly have these 3 types of wisdoms, these knowledge as well. So the knowledge is that, all knowledge is that you look at everything and you say, wow, I am not afflicted by anything in the world when I choose not to. It's my choice. I can choose to be afflicted for the sake of my friends, my father, okay? And when I can't take it anymore, I will free myself from it. So my life is fuller instead of my life as being a victim of the circumstances. Is that clear? Extremely useful skill. Okay? That's why you have this all knowledge. You see everything, you say, okay, money, car, houses, all the things, it's all empty anyway. I will play with you, but when I feel like it, I don't feel like it, I withdraw, okay? I re-engage again. It's my choice. Whereas you don't have the choices. You're a victim of your own afflictions. So the point here of 一切智, all knowledge, is that when you should know that life is overwhelming and you're overwhelmed by your afflictions, draw upon your contemplative wisdom to restore balance and clear your head. That's what you're supposed to know. Okay? And when it's time, I will tell you. Now you have contemplative wisdom. This is my role. I tell you, you're there. That's when it's meant for you to say, if I have it, I need to learn to start using it to improve the quality of life. Yeah? That's Chan for you. All right? Number 2. All sorts of knowledge of the way. Okay? Forgive my explanation. I'm sure eventually you find better names for this. But I want you to know the second knowledge here is a knowledge. First of all, all knowledge here is that of the sound hearers. Okay? They can drop things. Second knowledge here is that of the bodhisattvas. Okay? Meaning that the bodhisattvas, this knowledge here, helps them differentiate. So the wisdom is much more advanced. Their knowledge is much more advanced than the other one, as the first one. So the bodhisattvas are taught because of their training to acquire the cultivation wisdom. They will acquire this all sorts of knowledge of the way, meaning that they are trained to develop how to help you better. That's our ideals, folks. Those are our standards. We train you so that eventually you have enough wisdom to help others. And so this knowledge of all sorts of the way is how to help better. All right? This is what my master failed to develop in his disciples. They only are encouraged to help themselves and follow what the path of Master Hsü Noor, but never learn to help others on their own. I hope to change that in your generation. Okay? I will help you develop skills to help others. The knowledge on how to help others. So for example, let's talk Turkey. For example, the mental illnesses are a big headache for the world right now. It's a huge epidemic right now going on, especially depression. People are getting depressed and more people are getting depressed. They can't help. And my master never trained his disciples on how to try to help. So for example, when there's a problem with people who are depressed, people who are sort of like unstable, come to them, they say, stay away from me. Don't come to my temple, because they can't handle it. Whereas in my temple, I allow these people to come, and I assign this person to have a drill, and then the next person have a drill, next person have a drill, and so forth. We are systematically training the third generation on how to help. Okay? And that shows we're not afraid of anything. Whereas when our losers come over there and bring their problems, they say, get away from here. Okay? We don't want you here. Because my master never trained them how to help. And what good are you? You are basically Siwei. You only helped yourself. That's why I called Hinayana, Mahayana. I want you to be Mahayana, Mahayana. We have standards, man. This is American Buddhism, not Chinese Buddhism. Okay? Is that clear? It's not talk. Can you help? How can we hear that young people are killing themselves? Our children, third generation, fourth generation, 20 years old killing themselves, teenagers killing themselves, and we do nothing? How could we? How can we? And so this knowledge here, you see, understand, the wisdom is very important. This cultivation wisdom is what I trained you, all of you, so that where you lay people are less than the left home people, but it gives you the knowledge of all sorts of pathways to help others. And when you do this, excel this in time, you have the third knowledge, which is all sorts of knowledge, which is the Buddha's knowledge. It's nothing he cannot solve. There's no problem he cannot solve. See the thing? Number one, you have to let go to clear your head. Because until your head is clear, you cannot be taught. Is it clear? So that's why you have the all knowledge here. You're able to drop things. Okay? Again, second chance for you. Anyone has another $100 bill? XP, JC, go ahead, ask them. Do you have any money on you? See, they all say, oh, not today. Do you take plastic? We take plastic too. Okay, you got that? Okay, so you, my emphasis is that I need to bring you to all knowledge here to enable you to clear your head. Okay, so that you won't run away. Why do you think we let people run away? Because they are not capable of developing this all knowledge. They're not capable of developing the contemplative wisdom. So it says, it's okay, go over there. Okay, be among losers. Okay, it's okay. You are not. It's okay, live your life. Okay? But those you stick around long enough, you all will develop contemplative wisdom so that you, okay, can let go of your afflictions and become happier and happier and happier and happier. That's a natural process. Okay? But it doesn't stop there. It has to go a little further because once you get there, I would notify you or tell you, oh, you made it. And it implies, I'm so happy you made it. Now I can teach you the real deal. You no longer are children. So I'm going to put you on a path to teach you the knowledge of all sorts of the ways, meaning all kinds of ways to help others. That's Buddhism. Okay? We have big visions. It's not about me, it's about you. Think about it. It's never been about me at all. Okay? It's about your knowledge, and Buddha's knowledge. So there's a parallel between knowledge and wisdom. You see that? Because you have this wisdom here, you're able to develop this all knowledge. This all knowledge will grow as you first develop this contemplative wisdom. Then I tell you, then you develop this all knowledge more and more and more. Meanwhile, I push you along so that you continue. As long as you don't run away, then you will be help to develop this cultivation wisdom, which then enables you to develop this knowledge. Is that clear? That's Mahayana. That's American Mahayana compared to, in contrast to Chinese Mahayana. They are Hinayana Mahayana. That's my version of it. Yes, go first.
Hello, Master. I think this maps exactly to the concepts we talked about in the Avatamsaka Prologue, right? The true truth, false truth, or middle truth, or the 真谛, 俗谛, and 中谛, right? The three different wisdoms.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone.